Today, everybody, we're going to be learning about my language project presentation. It's basically me explaining why I believe that a language-related problem in our society is the issue of language barriers, and that's what we'll be doing now. So basically, why I believe that it's a huge problem in our society is because it will affect our country's linguistic cohesion, and also it's going to affect uh, all these different facets in our lives, whether it has to do with public education or civil and emergency services or private industries or even personal interactions. Uh, we may not put much thought into it as to how big of an issue this problem can have. However, as we're about to learn now, uh, the issues can be quite devastating. So as you can see, what I've already listed off, these are different facets of our life that it can affect. Our personal interactions, police force, government programs, the different private sector, and public education. Uh, when it comes to especially with the service industry, that's probably going to be the one that gets hit hard the most because it requires one person interacting with another party, and if there's a discrepancy with the language that someone speaks, then whatever service or good that they're trying to provide isn't going to that transaction is just never going to happen, and that's just going to lead to, I guess, it could be a potential economic downfall, you could say. So why is this a problem? Here I have a handout for my audience member. It's just going into detail on all the sources that I've made. Um, and as I talk throughout this presentation, I'm basically going to summarize what's on that sheet of paper. Feel free to read it if you want, or just listen to me speak. So basically, why is this a problem? Well, for starters, like I said before, it can have language barriers will have an effect on things like the healthcare industry. I believe on one of my sources that I stated on there was a a study done where they had they were documenting the customers' feedback on how they felt that the staff was treating them and what kind of service they were receiving when they weren't very good with their English. And in that study, they documented the results from, I believe it,
$38 more.
yeah, it was about 200, over 200 family members who didn't speak English. They had, since it took them a long time to figure out what the diagnosis would be, they calculated that the average total cost, but when all was said and done, was $38. Also, they felt that their service wasn't as respectful as it would be compared to people of the domestic population, like the native-born Americans who already grew up speaking English quite well. Another facet of society it will affect, before I had said the service industry, there was a study done where they had they were documenting the feedback on over a dozen or so Korean immigrants from Korea. Their ages range from their early 20s to like age 55, roughly, and basically they were looking for these different traits on traits pertaining to what their perception of the service was. To summarize it, they felt that they grew so frustrated with the language barrier that they just decided to give up in the end and just settle for whatever the waitress or waiter would give to them. You could find it on, which it's the one that talks about. Uh, It's very comprehensive. The study, what it had found was that most of the immigrants, they felt that they weren't being that their orders weren't being taken as serious. So because the waitress and waiters, they would just fill in the blanks with what they think that they would want, and basically at the end, the Korean the Korean immigrants, weren't uh, they weren't getting their first choice of their food, basically. And that's another aspect why this is an issue, because not only does it affect the ESL customers. That's the term that they gave those immigrants. ESL meaning English as a second language customers. Uh, you might you might see that acronym. You came across it correct on that handout I gave you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So basically, not only will it affect the um, the ESL customers, however, it can also affect all the surrounding customers who are still they're trying to receive service, because all the waitress and waiters and all the other employees, they're allocating a lot of time and effort trying to appease their needs and wants of the ESL customers, and the time that they take doing that, they're not servicing other customers who speak English fine, and therefore it just results in longer waiting times. So that's another example of um, why this is a problem. Uh, Another aspect why it can be a problem is, uh, let's say, when it comes to emergency services, uh, you need to communicate with law enforcement that there's something dangerous is happening. If you're not able to properly articulate what's going on, then they won't be able to assess that situation accordingly. They won't know if they need to send dispatch a cruiser to your location if you're not even able to describe to them where your location is in a language that they'll understand. And then that's just going to create more and more problems. So when we analyze each potential problem that can occur due to language barriers, we can see that this is something that can be very catastrophic if it's not dealt with accordingly. So previous approaches to this problem, if you turn the page on your handout, yeah, the where it's titled previous approaches. The first, if you look at source one, it should talk about the software called XPrompt on the page that you're looking at. You see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So there was this in Germany. There was this university. They had constructed this software called XPrompt. The purpose of it was to make the servicing, performing medical service on patients who don't understand German, make their lives easier. Basically, the method it did was it just had 800 phrases or so. They were pertaining to everyday life and medical topics, and they were using it on tablets, and using it on tablets, it made it in a way so patients could just go on that said app, look for whatever phrase or need that they want to communicate with the German doctors, and right then and there it would show what they wanted in Arabic or in Spanish or Russian or whatever foreign language they were trying to translate it in. And one issue with that software was that it required the leadership and the upper management to give their employees extensive training on how to operate it, and that didn't always occur, because with that study in particular.
What about Google Translate?
Yes, I will get to Google Translate shortly.
Understand. You said you got 10 minutes, right? I think I'm gonna go over your 10 minutes.
all in all, their feedback on the X prompt software was positive.
Like you explained the X prompt. So just go.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Thing with Google Translate, it was created back in 2010, I believe. It has over 100 different languages, and basically how it's able to do its job is with machine learning. It uses references that it gathers from the internet of all these different government documents that it collects, and it takes whatever foreign word that you type into it, and it tries to see if it has a connection to English. Basically, that's its main base language that it will go off of. When it finds a translation in its memory or in its machine learning encyclopedia software, basically, that's how it goes about translating words for people. However, it doesn't come without its downsides too, because since it's so ambitious in its goals and how vast it's trying to be, it does open itself to some major discrepancies, because not every language will have a translation or an interaction with English or any other popular language, whether it be Spanish, French, Chinese, or languages like that. Some languages are so niche and they're so obscure that not even the internet will know of its existence, and that's one limitation of Google Translate. However,
Because I be traveling and sometimes I be struggling with Google Translate. So
yeah, that's basically why you might struggle with it. Some,
the information, right?
yeah, yeah. So those are different approaches. Those are some of the different approaches that some people have come up with so far. So my proposal, so it's going to be a mixture of the research that I've already proposed, along with some of my own current health knowledge. So my proposal would consist of both incorporating Google Translate along with our current smartphone technology. Smartphones are so unanimous that virtually everyone in the first world has one. Most cell phones that people have are smartphones, and with that said, everyone has access to the internet, assuming that they're not off in some out in the middle of nowhere. So Google Translate is going to be a very quick and on-the-go way of translating your thoughts with someone who may not speak the same language as you. And my other proposal is in regards to the software X prompt, but it's not necessarily using it as it is, but rather other companies who have to do with other things other than medical care could create some sort of software that's phrases are geared towards their particular area. So, for example, if it were like the restaurant, or if it were like dealerships, like car dealerships or whatever, they would have phrases that are unique to that industry. So that way it would make sense to them, because obviously it wouldn't make sense to have medical phrases in an app that's in a totally different other service industry in the private sector. So it would have to make sense for it to be altered. My third proposal has to do with immigration. As you all know, in the United States, we're a very diverse nation, and we're all very thankful for that. And also, for the past couple decades, we have been getting in a very generous amount of immigration, mostly from countries that don't speak English. From a California immigration website, I believe the abbreviation was PPIC, the Public Policy Institute of California. Had documented that the majority of immigrants who do come here, even if they are from countries that don't speak English, they do end up learning English at least decent enough. And I believe they estimated 2/3 of them, over 2/3 of them, 67% if I remember correctly, they do end up learning English when they get here. However, they also did find a correlation between immigrants who have less than a high school diploma and them having very little or to no proficiency in English at all. So with that said, I am aware that correlation is not causation, and that's why with my proposal that I would say that for our immigration policy that we have a temporary policy to where we, when assessing immigrants who are coming from countries that aren't English speaking, that don't have English as their main language, that we prioritize immigrants who do have at least higher education, just because of the statistical likelihood that they're more likely to be proficient in English. And should enough time go by to where that does or doesn't make a difference, we would make a decision accordingly as to whether or not we would keep that immigration policy.
Alright,
So
bro.
that's
Wrap
how.
it up.
Yeah. So that's how. So how good are we on time?
Probably exceeded.
Okay.
You explained everything
Okay.
so good. Just
Okay.
wrap it
Yeah.
up.
That was very comprehensive.
Yeah.
So that would be my proposals on how we would combat language barriers. And yep, that's it.
Alright, bro. Thanks for the information today. Great. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.